In the all-around category tonight, it is Fran Giesbrecht. Fran's involvement in the game of softball spans over 5 decades. He grew up playing baseball in Crystal City, Manitoba, but after moving to Winnipeg in 1971, took up the game of fastball. By 1975, he was playing at the Senior A level with the Winnipeg Black Knights. In 1979, he won the Senior A batting title, and in 1980 was named All-Star shortstop for the league. With the KK Tiger Paws, a team from Steinbach, Fran won a silver medal at the 1984 Western Canadian Senior B Championships in Edmonton. In 1981, Fran and a few other fastball players started a minor softball program in Landmark. By the late 1980s, the program had 8 boys and 8 girls teams. From 1981 to 1995, he was part of the coaching staff on teams at the Squirt, Pee-wee, Bantam, Midget, and Junior age groups. With these teams, he won a total of 8 provincial championships, a bronze at the Western Canadian Bantam Boys Championship in 1987, a silver at the Midget Canadian Fastball Championship in 1991, and both a silver and a gold in 1994 and 1995 at the Canadian Junior Men's Fastball Championship. He won another provincial Senior A title as a coach of the Manitoba Alliance in 2002. Fran won his last championship as a player in 2016 with the Triclad designed slow pitch team that won provincials and took gold at the Senior Slow Pitch Canadian Championships in Brampton, Ontario. Fran is known as an accomplished softball player, but even more so as a person who gave back to the game and provided the opportunity for young people to learn and play the game of fastball at a very high level. Fran Giesbrecht is an inductee to the Softball Hall of Fame tonight in the all-around category.
Sure. Okay. Congratulations to all of you. It's wonderful. When Rolf Nesper encouraged me to find fastball stuff from the last 50 years because he was nominating me for the Fastball Hall of Fame, I fidgeted. Now, after frantically searching for photos I couldn't find, and facts that I now realize were only fiction, I come to realize how incredibly fortunate a fellow I have been. In 1971, the year Marge and I married and moved to Winnipeg, I began looking for a place to play baseball. And fortunately, my cousin, it's all about the Yankees, Lloyd Penner, popped up and showed me how this beautiful and most exciting game called fastball was played. And I was completely hooked. Lloyd is no stranger to the Hall of Fame extravaganza, so it's very special he and Ramona are here today. I quickly changed my search to looking for a fastball team, and fortunately, John Wientz popped up and formed a church league team at my church, which I realized later is where fastball players generally learn their craft. John, a passionate lover of the finer details of playing the game of fastball, coached our group until we hit the big time in the Winnipeg Industrial League. Fortunately, made possible because of generous people like Jake Rempel, the owner of Red River Realty at the time, who actually bought us uniforms. In 1975, after having reached the pinnacle of Senior A level of this wonderful game, Marge and I moved our family to a small town of Landmark, a village of about 500 people, citizens at the time. Where there was no organized ball being played, no adults, no kids playing ball, fastball, baseball, didn't matter. Our 2 sons, Rob and Nathan, were growing up quickly, and it was fast becoming apparent they needed a place to play the game. Their dad was having so much fun playing in Winnipeg. The backstop in our half-acre backyard was wearing out. The windows in our house were all under threat. And the excitement of sliding into all the bases after all of my games had run its course. And then, fortunately, up popped 2 lovers of fastball Bernie Newell Jr. and John Peters Sr., two friends and neighbors to us in Landmark, both with their own kids needing a place to play, declaring, "Since fastball is this absolutely perfect game for both boys and girls to play, we were interested in helping start a boys and girls team in Landmark." By 1980, we had formed 8 boys and 8 girls minor teams, complete with 32 brand new coaches, more than 5 umpires, and a serious need for training, for diamonds to play on, and for teams to play against. It didn't take long, and up popped Dave Coulter and Lloyd Plett to take on this onerous task of building a sports complex in Landmark where one didn't exist. And in no time at all, we had 3 state-of-the-art, perfectly drained ball diamonds and an arena which provided the washrooms. David bought a ticket for us for tonight, but unfortunately fell ill. And lo and behold, up popped Ron Coop, the umpire-in-chief, who willingly took care of developing the new umpires in our newly formed Landmark Minor softball program to take David's place. As my team of boys became more than a handful, I was hoping to shoulder tap someone to be my assistant coach, but the parents of Landmark were completely tapped out. And then, fortunately, up popped my dear friend from Winnipeg, John Weir, who was willing to drive out to Landmark from the city, even for practices, to help me coach for many years. Unfortunately, John came down with a cold yesterday and decided not to risk giving it all to all of you. This chair beside me would have been vacant, except up popped Dave Dreger to take the chair, a fellow teammate through all of these years who can vouch for all my stats, which I'm now thinking are fiction. I realize some of the original players, David Plett and Rob Coop, are here today with their wives, Lisa and Kim, and to support my son, Nathan. But since David and Rob were both definitely parts of the players group, which set a tone of excellence for my teams right from the very beginning, I appreciate and want to note their presence here. I consider them to be representing those 17 boys who came out on that first day of practice back in the late 70s, all from the same grade 6 class. My granddaughters, Monica, Kate, Melanie, and Annika, and my grandson, Luke, and Zach all played in the Landmark Minor program. Unfortunately for Luke and Zach, the program had been changed to baseball by the time they got there. So they will have to be content with playing slow pitch in the coming years to experience the big ball game. The parents of the kids from the village of Landmark stepped up, filling every volunteer position we could imagine for them. They and their families took care of the coaching, umpiring, and a place to play. And when we looked around for teams for our boys and girls to play in this intricate and rewarding game, up popped Barb Smith, Don Clem, and the whole Manitoba Softball Association crew to tell us Swan Valley, Whitemouth, Winkler, Charleswood, and Clifton Community Club in Winnipeg were all looking for other boys' teams to play. Fortunately, the girls' teams were able to almost immediately join the many well-established local girls' leagues in the surrounding area. Our Landmark boys and girls teams have now played for many years, and many of them quite successfully. Last year, my family entered a slow pitch team into the Landmark Friendship Festival, naming it the Geezers, since 12 of us could use the last name Giesbrecht. And so it's very special that all except 2 of my grandkids are here today. In 1994, our Manitoba Lions junior men's team, which was representing Manitoba at the Canadian Junior Men's Nationals, needed a coach. And very, very importantly, up popped Ralph Nestor, who most certainly had the ability to coach a group of U23 men to the next level, winning silver that year. As his assistant, I wrote down everything Ralph was teaching, with the most important being to be a complete organization, you need a strong assistant coach, someone who brings everything to the team that you don't have. So taking over the Alliance reins for the next years, needing an assistant, I turned to my neighbor, Rod Peters, John's son, fondly known as Bubba, and he agreed. While sitting together watching the first game at the Nationals in Prince George later that year, I asked him, "What do we need to know?" And Rod replied, "It'd be nice to know which pitch the guy kills." So we proceeded to map it out, and fortunately, our map took us to the gold medal. I'm thinking Rod is a genius coach. To round out the guests at our table, I'd like to acknowledge and thank my sister Sandy, my sister Nancy, and her husband Louis for their support. It's very special to me. My brother Dennis in Kitchener, Waterloo said, "Send me the photos." I'd also like to thank Ralph for nominating me and for regularly listening to all my stories. And then thanks to Les Newman, Les Elchuk, Murray Blight, and the entire Hall of Fame committee for this fantastic honor. I've been and am a very fortunate fellow. And lastly, to the people of Landmark. All of you are beautiful evidence that it takes a village to raise a successful fastball program.